What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. As most of you know, the month of June is come and gone. And the month of June overall with movies was pretty good. It was more consistent than it was in May, and definitely more consistent than it was in April. April we saw the first blockbuster movie, Furious 7. In May we saw Avengers Age of Ultron totally dominate the month of May, pretty much. I mean, that movie just really did well in that month. But June brings more consistent movies, for sure, and it really is probably the beginning. Some people consider May to be the beginning of the summer season of movies, but June really is, I think, the true start of it, almost. But anyway, this video is highlighting all of the big movies in June, in the month of June. And I'll point you ahead to some movies that are coming out in the month of July. But first, the review of the movies in June. First movie on the list is Entourage. It came out June 3rd. So overall, it came out on June 3rd in the United States. And it is, for those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, Entourage was a TV show back in the day on HBO. This is a movie continuation of the series that came out. So a lot of fans were very excited about the movie. Unfortunately, it didn't do very well. I mean, $27.5 million budget, and it's made $43.8 million. Not exactly a box office success or anything like that. I mean, it may still be out. I'm not too sure about that, though. Probably a month in, though, it probably is out of theaters. This movie overall on critical reception got a 31% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't good. So it got negative reviews, and it just wasn't the big box office draw I think maybe the studio wanted, per se. So it was a bit of a letdown, definitely. The movie Love and Mercy came out, about Brian Wilson, the lead singer of the Beach Boys band way back in the day, in the 60s, 70s, a lot of decades. This movie came out, I think, in full theaters, in wide release June 5th. John Cusack plays the older Brian Wilson. This guy named Paul Dano plays the younger Brian Wilson. Elizabeth Banks is in the movie as Wilson's love interest, and Paul Giamatti is in the movie as well. So overall, this movie was a small film. I mean, relatively small film, and it earned $9.3 million. So for a small film, I think that's what they wanted to go for, was that kind of money or something like that. Rotten Tomatoes gives it an 89% rating, which is a very good rating, for sure. I mean, it's a top rating. So critics loved it, and it made some money. And as of June 25th, 2015, it's expanded to 792 theaters. So it is being shown in more theaters, and more critics are putting out their reviews on the movie, and they really like it. So I thought I'd mention that because I'm a big music fan, and I do like the Beach Boys. I do like a lot of their songs, so I thought I'd mention that movie. A movie that I watched quite recently was the movie Spy. This movie, of course, I reviewed on my channel. I reviewed the movie Spy. Just a quick run through: Melissa McCarthy, Jason Statham, Rose Byrne, Jude Law, Allison Janney, Bobby Cannavale, and many more star in this film. Basically, what it is Melissa McCarthy. This is a Melissa McCarthy movie. First off, Melissa McCarthy is a CIA analyst who leads a pretty boring, by-the-numbers life in the CIA until she's asked to join the CIA until she's asked to go into the field. She volunteers to go into the field as a CIA agent, and some hilarious hijinks follow. I think it's a very funny comedy. I did watch it, and I do think it's a very funny comedy for sure. It was definitely hilarious, and a lot of people thought so. It got a 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. For a comedy of that nature, of the nature that Spy was, that's unbelievable right there. The amount of praise it got. Just an unbelievable critical reception for this film. And the movie in whole, it has made money. I think it is still out currently. It had a budget of $65 million and it made $197.3 thus far. That's good. That's a good showing from this movie. The next film that I'm going to be talking about on the list is a historic film. It turned out to be a really historic film and one of the biggest blockbusters of the year so far. Jurassic World came out June 10th in the United States. I believe it did. Yes, it, actually June 12th in the United States as a whole, so it came out June 12th. June 10th in Los Angeles. But yeah, Jurassic World. The fourth continuation in the Jurassic Park series. It'll probably be a while until I watch this movie. I have not watched it yet. Mainly because I haven't watched any of the other Jurassic Park movies. Not yet, at least. I've never watched them, so I have to go back and watch the first three before I watch Jurassic World. Jurassic World stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard as the two main actors, human actors, in this movie. I say Jurassic World is a very historic film because it established the record. It surprisingly, out of nowhere, established the record of the biggest opening weekend for a movie of all time in the United States. The best movie before then was The Avengers, which made about $207.8 million or something like that. 206, 207 million. Jurassic World made $208 million in its opening weekend. And thus far, the numbers are staggering overall. It had a budget of $150 million. The box office total is so far is $1.260 billion. It's already stands as one of the top grossing films of all time. You know, it crossed the $1 billion mark for sure, and it will continue to be up there. It should have a top 5 showing in the box office, in the top 5 box office for a while, basically. It'll have a strong showing for a while. But yeah, Jurassic World. I believe we've truly had 3 blockbuster movies so far. I mentioned Furious 7 and Avengers Age of Ultron, and then I just mentioned Jurassic World. Those 3 movies right there are just huge movies. Just blockbuster, popcorn-type action movies. For sure. So, the next film that I'm going to be looking at here is a movie that is considered by some, that has been kind of considered by some to be one of the greatest movies ever made by Pixar. And that's the movie Inside Out. This movie, definitely considered, definitely praised, tremendously. The voice cast itself is amazing. Amy Poehler, Bill Hader, Lewis Black, Mindy Kaling, Phyllis Smith. It's a very impressive cast, first of all. The movie deals with a teenage girl, and I think a teenage girl, a girl, basically, and the emotions, the different emotions inside of her. Joy, anger, disgust, fear, and sadness. The 5 main emotions that go on in this girl's mind. And this movie deals with the emotions, basically, those different emotions right there. Inside Out actually established a record of its own. Inside Out now holds the record. Opening weekend, it made about 90 million or something like that. Now, this movie holds the record for the greatest opening weekend for a film that's original. That's an original film. So it is the best opening for an original film ever in box office history, and it belongs to Inside Out. It is the 15th film in Pixar's history, I do believe. The best opening for an original title. So far, $175 million for a budget, and it's made $282 million. It came out June 19th, and it's just been, I mean, the money has been great for this movie. The critical reviews have been amazing. Of course, Pixar has great critical reviews for its movies anyway, most of them. So Inside Out has a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Unbelievable. It really... A lot of people have said that it's one of the best Pixar movies in a couple of years at least. Not less, you know, they say as well that it is one of the best of all time in Pixar's history. And you consider Pixar also has the Toy Story series, the 3 Toy Story movies, Monsters, Inc. It also has The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, Up, WALL-E. I mean, those are great films right there. Those aren't just great Pixar films, they're great films. Inside Out joins that pantheon of great Pixar magic that they've continued to put out. So Inside Out, another big film that came out in the month of June. And then the last movie I'm going to be talking about, which came out in June, that I'm going to be seeing soon. I hope to see it actually this Sunday, as a matter of fact. This upcoming Sunday, I'm hoping. The sequel to Ted 2. I am going to be reviewing the first Ted at some point. I am going to put that review up because I watched it recently again. Mark Wahlberg, Seth MacFarlane. Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane returned from the first Ted, and they come into the second Ted. And there's a big cast. There's a new cast of characters as well. Amanda Seyfried. Liam Neeson's going to have a cameo in the film. Morgan Freeman's going to be in the film. Is in the film. Ted 2 opened on June 26th, rather. June 26th overall in the United States. And so far, this movie has made $61 million on a $68 million budget. It's going to break that budget of $68 million for sure. It will be in its 3rd weekend, I believe. No. It's going to be in its 2nd opening weekend. Yeah, it's going to be, because it came out June 26th. Yeah, it's going to be in its 2nd opening weekend coming up. It'll be the 2nd weekend that it's been out. Overall, critically, this film has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is very mixed. It is close to being pretty mixed. Definitely not as good as the first one. The first one had like a 66%, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, if I'm not mistaken. In this one, the basic gist of Ted 2 is that Ted wants to prove that he's a real person, even though he's a teddy bear. He wants to prove he's a real person in the court of law, so he has to try to prove that. And he wants to, I think, have a child or something like that. And he has to prove to the court that he is a human. So basically, he has to prove to the court that he is a human being. And so he has to do that. So, that was the last film in the month of June that I'm going to be talking about. So, like I said, I mean, movies like Inside Out and Jurassic World have made a lot of money in this month. We had a dud like Entourage. Spy was a big surprise of a film. And Ted 2 is, you know, a sequel, basically. So, yeah, that's it for the month of June. Now I'm going to preview July. Now, as I'm doing this video, it is July 2nd, and a few of these films have come out. Two of the big ones that came out July 1st. The second Magic Mike movie, Magic Mike Extra Extra Large. So, that's a film I'm not going to be seeing at all. No interest in it whatsoever. And then the next one was Terminator Genisys. That's the 5th Terminator movie in the series. Arnold's back. Arnold Schwarzenegger's back in this one. So, I mean, check out that one, Terminator Genisys. Let's see. Minions is coming out June 10th. So, or July 10th. Minions is the spin-off to the Despicable Me film series. There have been 2 Despicable Me movies. Minions is the spin-off to that. Also coming June 10th is a movie called Selfless. A smaller film. It's, you know, it is a smaller film. A science fiction, I believe. June 17th, Ant-Man is coming out, one of the big movies of the year. It is the next Marvel movie after Avengers Age of Ultron. So Ant-Man looks very interesting. It is coming out July 17th. Mr. Holmes, also coming out June 17th. That looks interesting. It is Sherlock Holmes at an older age. Also June 17th. The movie Trainwreck, that's coming out. It's a comedy. And so check that out. Let's see. Pixels, July 24th is coming out. The Adam Sandler movie, Pixels. The Trainwreck movie has Amy Schumer. So Pixels is coming out July 24th. Also July 24th is the movie Southpaw. That is coming out as well. Also, June 29th, or July 29th, is the movie Vacation, a reboot kind of the National Lampoon, the Vacation movies. There was a couple of European Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas Vacation, and then there was a Vegas Vacation. Now we're getting the title's just Vacation. So that's coming out on July 29th. On July 31st, we're getting another Mission Impossible movie. Mission Impossible 5, or Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So that movie is coming out. And those are the movies that are coming out, the big movies that are coming out in the month of July. So that's it for the month of June for big movies for me. So that's it for this video. D-Rock 1992 out.